Okay, after all that, we're in. Let's go. Blitz titled arena, baby. Blitz titled arena. It is, I think, once a month on Lichess. And it's only titled players. Chat here. Okay. We're playing a CM from Greece that looks like. Okay, against the Nimzovich, there's actually a rare Gambit. This is a deep pull, but yeah, they do this, right? Now, I like here knight c3 and d5, but takes knight c3, giving this pawn. Not a common thing to do, but this is the Marshall Gambit. And I do have a video on my channel. I have a video on a couple Marshall Gambits. Frank Marshall, my guy. True Gambit Chat, came up with a lot of good ideas, but this is an interesting one, and really flips the script on Nimzovich players who play knight c6 and d5 and some spicy things that otherwise, you know, could have put white in some trouble here, like continued hits on the d4 pawn, castles, e5. I mean, I could talk more about the opening later, but this is a really fun one. So now queen e2, we dodge the queen trade, and we're looking at a long castle soon. And the other thing I want is like knight b5 and to cause problems here. So I'm between bishop e3 and knight b5. I like knight b5. I think this is kind of annoying. It's not obvious how you move your queen to hold the c7 point. c7 becomes very difficult to defend as soon as the queen leaves home. This is a very good pattern to know. Very underexploited, I would say. Yeah, the queen couldn't have really stayed out for more hits. That wouldn't have been fun for her. So let's play bishop to f4 to keep hitting c7. And now I expect, yeah, bishop to d6. Not long castles, because takes would be check right now. It would be check, and I would not be pinning. So I could just move my rook to d1. Or I could capture and then long castle. Probably not. I think we're just going to move the rook to d1. As much as I would have liked to also castle with it. Well, okay, let's think about what happens. He plays e5. e5 is kind of unpleasant, I'll be honest. I need to think of something kind of interesting, like trade and queen g4 is probably pretty annoying. I like this idea. Okay, let's trade. And what I want to do now, okay, yeah, let's castle. So d5, I expect. And now queen g4. So I'm trying to take advantage of all my resources. My other resource was this pawn being unprotected. And my goal is now to drop back to g3 to find some openings here, while also getting my king safe. I didn't want to deal with check. Maybe it wasn't so necessary, but castling short would have been a lot of work. So g6 happens as expected, and before a6 can be played... Oh, you know what I missed here? I missed this move, which would have been gorgeous. I'll talk about that in a second. But, okay, I need to make my move. It's queen g3. Rook takes d5 would have been a brilliant idea. And, in fact, it is the reason e5 can't be played. Rook takes d5. You can't go queen takes because I have knight c7 with the fork. So that would be sick. Oh, and I do get it. Awesome. Beautiful. And before it wasn't working, even with the queen here, because rook takes d5, it would have pinned this e-pawn. So... but now that capture is also impossible, whether the pawn was pinned or just not on e6. So it comes, rook takes d5, and everything is firing on all cylinders as we try to keep this king in the middle. We have knight d6, check to boot. I kind of just want to play knight f3 here. We got to get everybody in. If I can get everybody in real quick, we've been doing a great job keeping this king in the middle. And now a6 just driving me home is not going to happen. My knight will jump here. I'm looking at the e5 point. Their king still hasn't moved, so if they can get in a couple moves, then they'd be fine. They could castle still, but knight f6, yeah, I have check, or... Yeah, check is the way to go. Check is the way to go, and we'll probably just drop this rook back. Unless we want to do something here, but that doesn't seem very prudent. Let's just come all the way home. And this bishop should develop directly to c4, ideally. Not a lot of time. This was a non-increment game. Knight h5 actually not a lot of squares for my queen. I probably should have taken this bishop. They missed that too, it looks like. Well, you know what, on knight h5, I can make this work with queen g5. So their king is running to some safety, relatively speaking. I thought for a second I had the fork, but I don't. So can I grab this? Yes, I want to say. There's a lot of pressure on f7, so it wasn't easy what to do. I was also playing rook e1. The position was very, very nice for me. I was just bringing my pieces to good squares and causing problems. So can I take even more here? I would assume so. Not a lot of clock, but a lot of pawns, as my knights grab their second. Ooh. That was a mistake on my part. Should have done it with the other knights somehow. Don't go queen e7. Check, check. Oh, that's not good. Oh no, maybe it is okay. Yeah. Let's cover that. My knight has been hanging. Okay. Oh, they had point two. They had point two. Okay. Oh well. It's a fun game though. And I think it went quite well out of the opening. I think this one went quite well out of the opening. Damn, I can't believe I got flagged at point two. Yeah, queen e2. This is a very fun move, and we were in business out of the opening. Shout out to Almond Milk Tea for the follow. But yeah, this was all correct. We were cooking. I did miss rook takes d5 here, but we got it in this position, and this should have been very nice. Our position was very nice. I took with the wrong knight. That was a big swing. +5 to -2. So yeah, that wasn't good as my pieces got split here, and then this was just kind of, we were blitzing out. Okay. I think I'm in front of my own widgets. Is the mic looking good? Mic should be looking good. Someone berserked against me. They'll face the full wrath of the Bushgas Gambit. Ooh, a lot of people do that. Even titled players. Even titled players. It's not a scotch. It's not a scotch, but you want to play bishop d3 to protect this, but you block your own queen from defending the knight. That's tough. That's tough. What's up, Delny, Luke Anthony? How y'all doing? Let's see if we can get some stream beats in the background. That's not the vibe I'm looking for. Play this. All right. Play you next. Join this arena. But this is just for title players, this one. All right, we should take this knight and then maybe c3, pawn takes, and free the bishop here. Let's go a4. d3 was also fine. So f3 is interesting, so is f4. Play with f4. Trying to break with f5, trying to cause some problems here. Other ideas are like queen e1, maybe queen f2, maybe queen b4. I'll just play here. Queen b6. Kind of tells me they're looking at a long castle. Just play king h1 as I think about things. f5. Well, now that's not really available to me. Maybe it was available last turn. It would have been interesting. Maybe a sacrifice there with the queen opening up here. But I'm just trying to play e5, shut this down, and maybe we can target this. This is interesting. I guess you want to follow with knight c6. Alright, but let's play queen f2. And then maybe I will have c3 at some moment with the pin. If I took, then the knight came to e3. Probably not what I wanted. But yeah, it seems like a lot of pressure. d6 seems like a hard move to play with your king still there, just to free this. So knight c6. Oh, they do play d6. Okay. Well, this should be good, though. I also have queen takes, knight takes, and then just grabbing this. No, that's actually quite good. Even though their king's not really safe, I'll take with the queen then, because it's a very clean pawn. At least it looks so to me. c3, always an idea. Yeah, that was in reference to when I had that pin on the pawn here. So takes, this would end very badly for them, I think. Knight takes, the knight would be threatening a fork and that bishop. So they have to play king f7 to guard. Take, it's possible. Also possible just knight f3 though. Let's try to play pawn. Knight takes is also interesting. Alright, not a ton on the clock. Let's go pawn takes. I guess this is going to be their idea. I mean, I have designs on like making that check, so h6 they should play. So check here, take. Well, okay, let's guard this. c3, d4. This is what I was looking at. Let's play h4 to stop this. And this is what I was looking at. I should hope this is solid. I kind of want to take away this resource. So maybe b4 myself. No, but I would want. Alright, they did it, but I actually changed my mind on whether that was a good idea. Because now my extra pawn looks pretty nice. I don't seem to have a lot of problems in the position. Or really any of them. And maybe rook a2, rook a1, I think is a logical place to go. Yeah, I don't know how they make any threat against me. Everything looks really solid and clean here. They're looking for g5 with check, so I'll just continue to take away all their ideas. And as we stack here, I mean, I could have also... Oh, that pawn is hanging now. As they tried to really prepare g5, that bishop was protecting the h6 pawn. And that's not super pleasant, as d5 is on the table, so is check. Alright, let's bring this back into the game. Yeah, let's go d5 now that the bishop is not hitting here. Try to just walk him over with these pawns. Though not a lot of clock. Let's go check and take this. Oh, wait, no. Not that. Let's do this. So king d7. Oh, that's good. should go all the way. Very nice. That's not quite mate. There we go. It took me a minute. It took me a minute, but we figured that one out. Missed mate? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this was a high quality game. You know, we had a better structure. We had a weak pawn. We won that weak pawn. We had a solid structure in the endgame. Took away their play. And we just advanced on them with our extra pawns. So good stuff. Good stuff. FM Winnower one. What have we here? A center game. Okay, what I like doing against the center game is I like trying to play g6, because I know they like playing queen g3 to attack this, right? Right, this was to be expected. Alright, can I try just going d5, d4 here? d5 trying to go d4 to make that fork. Hikaru farming in your country. Which one's my country, USA or Canada? Alright, so not giving me queen takes d5. Still trying to go h5. Couple interesting ideas, because takes check. Yeah, what they did was interesting. Alright, let's just go knight f6 back. But do they have anything nasty with the bishop? Nasty is a strong word, but I don't like it. Alright, let's go bishop e6, trying to set up like knight d4. So if like h5 here, knight d4, I feel like it's not a lot of squares. Knight d4 and then maybe knight b4. e5 was also intriguing, but this just is the most forward. So okay, I'm not hanging my knight. I brought my bishop out. So they're getting somewhere with this attack here, trying to open this line onto my king, which is what you should do against the fianchetto, particularly in opposite side castles. But my pieces are pretty good too. Look at my knight's in the middle of the board, my bishop's pointing in this direction. We gotta make something with it. Queen g3, like, we can keep trying to cause problems. This is begging for knight b4 though. Also maybe bishop f5. Knight b4 just seems the most intuitive to me. But maybe bishop f5. Let's just go knight b4. So my knights here do nice. I love this pattern actually. Here, 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 and then just like double hits on c2 or c7 in chess. That is a nice one. So a2 is hanging in addition to c2, and it might be the more pressing one. Alright, let's grab a2. I think all captures there could have well been justified. Alright, f takes. So they're trying to cause something over here. We've kept this diagonal guarded. Queen h3, probably just h5, right? That's kind of what I was going for. But I think we've held everything generally together. So having no checks here, kind of unfortunate. Should be okay. Just hold this knight solid in the middle of the board. Yeah, pretty solid extra pawn. I mean, I could swap the queens if I wanted. Doesn't really do anything. I also could have played queen f4 check. But now, this is an interesting resource. Kinda not a lot of squares for the king. This is hanging. Can I just grab it? 4 to 8. King is lacking squares, although I do hate to cut you off with c4. Also at this. I mean, the queen was well placed there, actually guarding stuff, but this is a big threat. Ooh, that can't be played. Yeah, it wasn't obvious what to do. Maybe my move was very good. It wasn't obvious what to do there if you were white. Nice. GG. GG. Well done. Yeah, I like this way that I play against the center game. I know there's like a lot of popularity to this because it's actually just kind of like an easy thing to do for if you're white against king pawn, and it's not so obvious what black should play because like they take it, they'll hit your queen, you come back right there, and then your next few moves are just on autopilot. It's boom, boom, and boom, right? So very often you'll get like this. They can play bishop d2, not even giving you that in one turn. But something like this, and then they bring their queen to g3, they play bishop h6, they're fine to give this pawn even as a gambit, and the light square bishop will also have a diagonal as well, so they'll start attacking pretty quickly. With the queen shifting to g3, it's pretty nice to pressure here. So what I like to do against this is I play g6, so this is contrary to what they're trying to do, so now I set up like so, although the engine wanted me to put my knight in f6, so I'm amenable to that. But I didn't want to block my bishop. So castles, h4, which is pretty logical, trying to strike with h5, especially with the knight not here to fight against that. But now I play d5, and this is what I was trying to do. Play d5 really quickly with the fork idea here, and so they take it. The engine's telling them to just go here, which is, I think, a hard thing to do, but there's apparently this crazy piece sacrifice. Wow. And I should lose. I should just be mated here. This is really interesting, but I just get checkmated down here, which is wild, because they're able to trade off the dark square bishop, which was otherwise guarding the squares around my king. But so they take it. My opponent did a good job to not take me again, which I think is a really easy thing to do, but now, like, these pieces start looking really good. So they did a good job to not take me again. They slide over, I come out to defend, and now my pieces, I think, start looking really good. You gotta be really precise with where you put your queen, and they weren't. Queen d3 gave me knight b4, and then eating not the right pawn. Apparently I just should have gone here. Maybe setting up knight takes a2, and then if the knight moves, then another check, and then take b2. That actually would have been sick. Queen f6, try to make this knight move, and then just like lose this other knight to go checkmate. So that would have been a really nice idea. And instead I just grabbed this pawn, and oh, they could have tried to play b3 and maybe get me. Wow. That was what we were missing. Bishop trap. But anyway, I think they just, yeah, the king had to go towards the center because it didn't have the b1 square going to my light square bishop. So this ended up working out pretty nicely for me. But yeah, this is a good thing to do, I think, against the center game. Let's say I played knight to f6. Let's make some center game theory here. And then castled, and I castled, and now what do people play here? So this, oh, I've had this position. I'm 1-on-1 here. So they'll play f3, or they'll play h4. Let's say f3. Yeah, f3 not the best move. I mean, f3 makes a lot of sense if you're trying to just defend piece attacks on e4. But I'm hitting with the pawn. And now, yeah, the pawn f3 not looking so smart if you got to take it. I can either capture, or I can play knight b4 here for a nice capture. So that seems good. That seems good. Yeah, you got to take it. I just take it. Take again, and this is already excellent for black. With a lot of pressure in this direction. So king b1, bishop f5, or bishop e6. You know, all the pieces start looking really nice. So I like that. H4 is also very common here. I don't know, I mean, let's keep it simple. Just D5 anyway, right? Takes. You can play knight takes. Knight B4 is also interesting. Rook E8 is interesting. I mean, I like this. H4, I understand, like, a more useful move. Now we're trying to both attack, so I think that becomes pretty interesting. But D5 generally seems to force that capture. F4, no, it doesn't even stop it. It looks like it supports E5 here, but it's not very good, because D5, I'm always threatening D4. And you don't really have a great spot for your queen. Like, there's no real reason to go queen G3 without that threat. So, I like this a lot, yeah. Bishop C4. I like here rook E8, yeah, trying to support D5. So if F3, the most common move. No. I don't know, we could, I feel like we could try to fight for it. Apparently not. Should play D6. Otherwise, yeah, 4, D5. Again, they need to take it. E5, D4 is too strong. So they take it, and then this opens up really nicely. So this is what I recommend against the center game. Take the pawn, knight C6, but don't just develop the bishop this way. Try to maybe play G6 and bishop G7. But put the knight to F6. Put the knight to F6. They have no, like, E5 ideas here. You just have knight G4, and you're good. Castle. And strike with D5 as quickly as possible, even though the rook is here, because the rook is blocked by its own bishop. So strike with D5 real quick. That's what I like to do. Mr. Broccoli's Pony. Broccoli's Pony. Is that like a real name? I don't want to be racist against the people of Czechia. Pushcast Gambit. Take my pawn. I've played around 3,000 plus games in Bullet with the Von Popiel, all thanks to me. Ah. How have the games gone? Alright, I've let this pawn hang. They still don't want it. I could go rook E8, but I think there's an E5 there. I'll play just knight C6 directly. Maybe try and play D5 on one go. Especially if they keep playing kind of passively. Well, D5, there's bishop G5, yeah. Maybe I take that away. Alright, take and D5 in one go. Alright, I kind of like my position. Where to go? G4 or E6? I guess this is what they want, yeah. Alright, let's go bishop E6. Knight H4. I kind of want to just play pawn G6, yeah. Is this so bad? Is there so much you can do to me if I just step up? I understand you have bishop G4, mayhaps. Knight D4, and I'll probably recapture. Queen E7 also is a logical choice. Let's go here. C3, take... What if they take, actually? Okay, but they just do that. Let's bring our king to H7. I don't know, I mean, is there a really good reason why not? Alright. No, yeah, probably. Well, I didn't guard it anyway. What am I talking about? Knight G6, yeah, this. That's... Ugh. I can't believe I just hung these tactics. Not smart. Not smart at all. This is mate. I got pranked. Yeah, I couldn't guard both these. I had to go here. Yeah, no, he got me. I just totally hung that. Alright, forward in the Blitz arena. Is Von Popiel for a draw? No, certainly not. It's for a win. You won around 70% of those games. 17 to 1900 bullet. That's awesome. Dude, congratulations. Congratulations. I like here, there's this little gambit. Knight takes d4 is a mistake to accept it. The pawn takes... Oh, okay. This kind of gambit class is worthy a little bit. This gambit class is worthy. Yeah, so pawn takes d4 is the main line, and knight b5, and white gets their pawn back. Knight takes d4 invites some very, very fun lines after bishop e3. And you're realizing it now because the knight's hit a lot of times, right? You can't just let me take it twice. If you go knight c6, knight b5, and with this file open, there's a lot of problems there. Otherwise, I was going to recapture and play for f5. Knight e7, they're just going to leave this here, which I guess is what they had to do. Yeah, that was probably the best thing to do, give back the pawn. They could take and play queen b6, because it forces the queens off, but I do trade and play knight b5, and with these hit, knight c7 as a threat for a fork, and the d6 pawn. e6 is good if the position stays closed, right? But the position opened up, and now d6 is vulnerable. So what we're going to do is just take it and go check myself, and continue to put pressure right there, because this is the setup they need right now, but not the setup they have. So let's just play easy moves like rook d1, as we continue pressuring this d6 pawn, which is now not really possible to keep on the board. Yeah, f5, I didn't really have it. f5 would have been the way to attack, but they had that defended a lot of times. Honestly, it's not off the table to play queen e3 just because my position's so good. Try to keep the queens on and win this pawn. But, well, actually, I mean, it is kind of a good point, because check here, king h1, and queen b2. It's not so obvious that I just, like, win such a clean pawn. So, by that logic, it might make a lot of sense to indeed play queen e3 or queen f2, like we were just talking about there. Because of queen b6 check. So they're taking away knight b5. What we want to do is probably just double them. Or d2 even. Just double the rooks here. If the bishop comes to b7, I would strike with f5. It needs to be here, which is kind of their predicament. Rook d3 was also possible. I think it kept alive these ideas of also striking at the king. So bishop b7, so I do have rook d1, which I think just wins this pawn, but if we want to switch gears, or even e5 and knight e4, so I have a few good ideas in the position. I should probably just choose the safe one. No, you know what? We're going to choose the fun one. We're going to go here in 84. We're going to go here with 84. I also even added a sacrifice, which was fun. Okay, yeah, that was a very logical choice they just did, giving the queen. I have to say, that was logical. Let's try to win this pawn. Was logical because the alternative was certainly worse. Let's try to get in there. Let's get in there. Here. G4 first. Oh no, there's E3 maybe. Let's just try to win something here. Rook D2 counter threat. Alright, let's play Rook F2. Trade. E3, yeah, I could take it and take it, right? So this seems like a good idea. Come back. E2. A4, anything to keep hitting there. Alright, seems like a pawn now, yeah? King F2 and then block against checks. This seems like a clever idea with that hanging. Otherwise, the rook was going to eat a lot of guys here. So we should be pretty solid and just eat some pawns. Ooh. Oh wait, there's fork at the end. But then maybe I push my pawns. But maybe I just should slide. Let's just go. I think they did have
5, 4, 3.
Let me do that. There we go.
2, 1, 0.
What? No way! Oh, how did I get flagged? They had .1? I got a little lackadaisical at the end there. I thought for sure I was flagging them. They got me, damn. They got me. Alright, we gotta step it up. I mean, obviously, like, I won the game on the board, but not on the clock. Yeah, getting flagged in a winning position sucks. Oh, well. Oh! We got a bush gas acceptance. We got a bush gas acceptance. Let's go. Oh, bush gas gambit on the board in Blitz titled arena. Oh, the stockfish line. So C3, right? It was a pretty nasty move, trying to prepare D4 as quickly as possible. We say no. Oh. Alright. They tried to give this pawn... They just wanted an equal endgame? They could have played Queen F3 to protect them. Instead, an equal endgame we shall receive. Alright. Alright. Let's go here. So bishop g5, I still want an e4. d2, they want this move. Well, I want bishop d3 against that move. I think what I do here that's most annoying is actually... Because rook e8, knights here, bishop d3, they could take it. Yeah, the most annoying thing I could do is lead with bishop d3. So if rook e1, now rook e8, now you don't have a bishop move to easily coordinate your rooks. That was necessary. I don't quite have this. E1 check, forces knight f1, and then I could eat that. It's kind of interesting. Because otherwise just trading helps my opponent. Right, because here then king f2, it feels like they're fine. Trade bishop g3, that's an option. This is the most interesting one though. Take, it's pretty forcing. Check, knight f1, bishop c1. Just trying to keep that back rank tied down. I'm gonna go for it. It's a really spicy idea. I could also pull back. No, let's go for this. Bishop f4. Alright, so yeah, really interesting. Just trying to take advantage of before they're able to fix everything here. So we go check, and if one forced. Bishop takes c1, so trying to keep a really dominant rook on the back rank. Sort of, it's true that I am pinned, but I hope to undo that ASAP with rook e8 here. And now the bishop is free with the rook defended. And they're still kind of tied down on the back. So did they have a move like rook e3? Unclear. So now how do we cause problems? Let's do something with the knight. Probably like knight d5. Looking at like knight f4 and knight e2, for example. So if I were white, I would take it. Now that frees up rook e2. c6, take, rook c3. Yeah, this is kind of what we wanted. Not a lot of time on the clock. I have nasty ideas like bishop e3. Take. Yeah, this is actually smart, albeit crazy. But yeah, take, and I would win a rook. In exchange, rather. So they got to take me here. Then I would go check. Rook takes e1. And we should be winning. Maybe I'll take with the bishop in that case. Yeah, this is a pretty nasty move, because I mean, if they had king f1, this wouldn't work, but the knight is not the best piece to have there. I'm surprised they did that. Because now this should be very clean extra pawn. Not a lot of extra clock. This is actually brutal to defend. That sucks. Okay. Let's not get mated. I have rook a1 as soon as I don't get mated. So they can't take b7, because yeah, they would lose that. They just realized. Let's just go, right? Oh, bishop e5? Oh, they had check, I mean. Missed on my part. Damn.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero.
Didn't work out in the endgame there. I mean, this certainly should have been winning, but just bishop e5 first. Check here, and then this pawn should be pretty slow, maybe after rook d2. But somehow we did this in the... This looks very appealing, but there is check and push, and my opponent played it well. So, yeah, check and push. And then I have to get my rook. This I mean, it should be drawn with good defense, but I just didn't have a lot of time. FM Kyrie Irving. Oh yeah. We got an Alopin Gambit accepted against the French. Fully accepted. They took both our pawns. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. Alright, there's a couple things we can do against the Alopin. I'm gonna go to a backup idea, if you will, which is queen e2 and long castles. And as soon as that bishop moves, that's when I'm committing knight c3, because I don't want to deal with bishop b4. So the reason why I did it this way is now with h6 played, it presents a really nice hook, in fact, for me to play g4 and g5. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is actually really just go right at him. Just g4, g5. Offside castles, let's go. And h6, it gives me an opportunity to trade pawns, rather than if that pawn were just on h7. To trade pawns, and that's why I went for offside castles. As we get to give a second pawn here, which is awesome. So I could dodge this and rook g1. Could even play rook g1 right now, take. And we've got some threats. I think this looks pretty fun. This looks like a lot of interesting sacrificial ideas coming up here for the Gambit man. So we're down 2 pawns. So they grab that bishop. So now that you got to deal with this pawn on h6, we've opened up a file. Queen to f6. It makes sense because there is this. So I would have liked just an 84. I don't have it. So can I do this? It's probably just a pawn. Take. It is interesting though, because queen takes gives maybe queen h6, but there is check here. So either playing 82 or just king b1. I think just king b1. We're just gonna get out of the way of this. Gotta make sure your own king is safe. Now queen e4 makes a lot of sense, as they need to reckon with that. Also, the other rook is swinging to f1 imminently. So they play your g6 to not get mated. d5 is fun, because like knight takes d5 would be a fork here. However, this seems just super logical, because d5, right, they can move their knight somewhere. Not that it was a bad move at all. Now I think they're just running into trouble in a few different ways, because here is just opening up the rooks onto their poor king. Yes, they were up a couple pawns, but their pieces were not doing anything. They never generated any pressure onto my king whatsoever. And now bishop takes e5 is the right thing to do, to try to get a knight and a rook for the queen. What if I just try to go pawn takes and queen g7, and then just keep coming after him? Probably better to just grab this queen. And maybe now queen f4 and take something. But their dark square bishop is doing a good job defending things. I had an 84 there, but knight d5, and it also covered f6. So we're going to take what we can. Let's try to attack what we can. We're down a little bit on the clock here. This should be good. Take and then take. Unless they throw this in, but then I throw in something over here. Boom. Looks good to me. Take f7, check. Let's just pull back here. Let's get our queen. Oh, no, not quite like that. That was hanging. Now that's better. And f6 is not looking pleasant either. f6 is being your only move, though. And now, ooh, well, a few good ideas there. Just need one of them. The good thing about the queen is we attack on the dark squares, we attack on the light squares. She can go to both. She can do it all. Let's play a 3 to not lose the game like that. This looks like mate here or here. Use the bishop to cover that square. Nice. So a really nice Alopin Gambit here. A really nice Alopin Gambit in Title Tuesday against an FM. They played d5, we played bishop e3, covering the d4 pawn, fighting against c5 and other things French players like to do. So they take the pawn, and now, right, also with bishop e3, you can't push. You got to accept the Alopin Gambit. And what we talk about all the time is this attacking idea. queen e1, queen h4, looking to pressure h7 in this position, assuming the pawn's still there. Pressure h7, tie down the knight, and look for sacrifice like this. Thing is, like, it's hard to play queen h4 when the pawn's already there, because now knight d5 is possible just in this specific position, targeting the e3 bishop as well. You know, so we're setting up the sacrifice on h6, but they're ready to meet us right away. So I went for the long side castles, which is always an idea. It's always an idea to go long side castles in these lines, and the bishops are still pointed really, really nicely. So like they played h6, which kind of took away my queen e1, queen h4 idea, but it set up the long castle idea really nicely. And so immediately here g4, and the engine likes it. The engine likes it. g4, top engine move here. Right, with long side castles, this is a very important point. Yes, it means attack, because like you want to push these pawns at the king, and you wouldn't be able to do that on same side castles. That would make your king unsafe, but here like we're just safe behind these pawns and send it over there. Vice versa, they should be safe here and try to attack over here, but it was very difficult for them to attack, which is why the dynamic activity of sacrificing a pawn became more important here on opposite side castles. But so g4, the other thing to take advantage of, right, I talk about pushing pawns. The point of pushing pawns is very specifically not just to push them and just attack the knight and make the knight move, right? It takes time, and for what? But to trade pawns, to trade them. Trading does two things. It takes away defenders, and it opens files for your own rook. So like, for example, let's say my opponent just played like bishop d7 or something here. I play g5. If the pawns were just flat, then I could kind of just like move out the way and be fine. But here, obviously, it forces a trade of pawns of some sort. And now with the rooks coming to g1, okay, like we can go queen g2, I can stack both the rooks here, I'll play bishop h6, and hit them down this open line. It makes a huge difference. So the fact that the pawn is on h6 represents a hook for me to trade pawns, and that's why I castle long, because that's a huge advantage. So you should know, if you're castling long there, or castling on opposite sides, look for your opponent playing a3 or h6 or something like that, and maybe don't do that yourself and offer that nice hook to trade off the pawns, because you want to dodge pawn trades, like push past rule if you can. In this case, the knight is under attack. But so my opponent just grabs that pawn, and so this is really fun. This is really fun. So it's 0.0 on the engine. It's even on the end. Even on the engine being down 2 pawns is a really, really nice situation, because the engine's going to like the pawns. My opponent played queen f6, which wasn't the best apparently, and I played king b1, but rook g4 was an even nicer move, covering f4 and setting up either rook f1 or rook g1. I played king b1 to cover against bishop f4. So like the engine won just king h8, and it looks like things like this are almost working. I don't know. This is not quite working. Check. They can run away a little bit, and with proper defense they can survive. So that's kind of interesting. I think that's why neither of us thought king h8 was a good idea, because of that sacrifice, which is there. But so king b1, and now having both these files here, because I'm missing those pawns, I'm down 2 pawns, is actually pretty nice. I mean, a really hard position to play for black. Not obvious what to do here. Knight e7 you should play here, but knight e5, rook f1 here. Like there's such great stuff to do when the rooks are not blocked by their own pawns. Okay, in the game, bishop f4, queen e4, threatening mate. G6, yeah, probably better queen f5, but then I was just going to dodge that trade and keep giving hits and pressure onto your queen and king. In the game, g6, but it sets up rook f1, and now lots of trouble down the f line for my opponent. Knight e7, but knight e5. Knight e5 wasn't the best, and better would have been like knight e1 to win this bishop, because knight e5 did give them the opportunity in the game to sacrifice their queen. So knight e1 picks off the bishop, yeah, cleanly. This is just a pin, and e5 also I can take it. So knight e5 take, yeah, I could have played pawn takes and continued just being down 2 pawns here and pressing, but, you know, nice to pick up the queen. Nice to pick up the queen, and especially in blitz, it's a nice piece to just move around. So I'm just looking at unprotected things in my opponent's position. Queen f4 helps me win that. And so this, I don't know, it's just very hard to play with the pieces here, and so stuff eventually just breaks down in black's position. Hard to keep it all together, especially when they never got an opportunity to develop this the whole game. And we took the stuff, and we came at them. So this is important to know, not just in the Alopin Gambit, but in chess in general. Important, when you castle on opposite sides, it means attack, and it means open up those files. So try to, and opening up files means pawn trades. So try to get pawn trades where your opponent's king is, and try to dodge pawn trades where your king is. Alright, subscribe. Let's go. Diane Keaton died. Art chess play. Wait, is that a Serbian flag? Yeah, I was just there. Let's play e6. Could be a French transposition, and it is. Alright, I like this knight g8 move. It's a spicy one. This is interesting because my bishop hasn't moved, but I did want to go c5. Alright, I'll go c5. I can take it back some other way, should the need arise. Guess now pawn takes c5, right? Well, something I need to watch out for is this. If I just ignore everything. So I think what I did was maybe not so smart. I don't know what I'm doing there. Yeah, knight b5 is quite annoying. Alright, let's try to get off of this. Play h4, maybe h6. I'm not sure what I've done here with this French. I played c5. I needed to just take it right away. I left this pawn here for dc5, and it was actually became kind of annoying. Alright, so no knight f5. I would like to take and rook g6. And then take. That would be all my dreams. So this is a factor, but you're castling, I assume. Ah, that way. But now I have here. So this is on the table. Okay. Could have gone a lot worse. I guess it's trapped, right? Alright, fine. Let's come back. Queen e7, bishop c7. Wait, have they been out of... No, they have not been out of squares, but... Am I out of squares? Shoot. Okay. Could have fishing poled my rook. Alright, the knight on d6 doesn't really do anything. In fact, it might just be lost. No, that's not a resource. We're gonna do this though. Same thing, same thing. Pawn on h3. We're gonna try to play g4 with that little hook. Open up a file. See what we can do. They're attacking me. Ooh. Let's just try to keep that tension. There's a lot of things that could have happened there. Okay. Seems good. Seems like we opened up kind of what we wanted to. Let's get to defend that knight. I 'Cause 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 Is that the idea? H3, H2. This should be here. No, I need to set that up.
Five, four, three.
Check and King G3, I guess. They gotta go back.
2,
Oh, they didn't.
1.
Nice. Okay, we dirty flagged them. But, you know, from a not great position, kind of down exchange, where they had a lot of attacking possibilities, C3, A5, we used the same idea of just trying to open something up here. And this was correct. Bishop C7. We're actually both playing surprisingly well. Take this. Okay, the best idea, I play your F6, trying to deal with this threat, but I should have played Queen H4. That makes a lot of sense, because if I get in Queen H4 with that threat, you kind of have to take this, and if you take this, then you die. So we could have finished them off that way. But yeah, I mean, they spent some time here pushing these pawns, but with no huge breakthrough. There was no pawns to be traded, and there was no files to be opened onto my king, and so my king wasn't in so much danger, especially relative to theirs, which just kind of came out of nothing, right? Like here, there's really nothing. I should just be down an exchange, but I had G5, G4 just because that pawn was on H3. This is the same thing we were talking about, and now this is really annoying. If you take it and then go here, this is worse for them than the game because then we come in this way. So what they had to do was try to generate some counterplay as my pawn just kind of wreaks havoc over there, and so we had a crazy blitz out here. Somehow it went my way, but I mean, I probably should have flagged. But here, okay, we won some material. Queen H2 to try to trade off queens was not the move. They actually did have Queen H7 here, winning my rook. But yeah, same idea of that pawn being there, being a hook to trade that off on opposite side castles. Fishing poling a pawn. Fishing poling a pawn. Depana subbed with Prime. 3 months in a row. Shout out. Alright, FM Limerick. But this should just be a pawn, yeah? That seems very unpleasant. Bishop b5, or bishop e2, bishop b5. Whenever a queen's there, you should never let it just like kind of move really easily. Blocking the bishop is really annoying. So I have d5, castles, or either capture. What's happening here? a6, b5. They don't lose immediately. Castles, e4. Alright, let's go with pawn takes. Check, knight c3, keeps everything together. Alright, and no chance you're able to take this. No chance, because queen takes e5 or e1. Wins your queen outright. So, let's take it because they asked. And it ruins long castles. Not that they were close in either direction. Bishop c4, no, maybe they take it. If I go here, queen e6. And then there's nothing obvious to do, so let's take first. Bishop g5, queen e6, it feels like what they wanted to play. Bishop g5, queen e6, I have knight d4. And potentially sets of e6. But let's just go right now with, like, just something simple like knight c3. Just ask them how they're trying to get out of here. How are you going to make this work? I'm not going to help you with moves you were going to play anyway. I might sacrifice with e6 myself, but I need pieces in the game first. And we're gonna try to make this as difficult as possible. Oh! Well, okay, let's think about this, because queen d7, queen c2, bishop e7. Rook d1, queen e6. I'm trying to checkmate there. Queen d7, queen c2, bishop e7, rook d1. They're okay for the moment. Okay, let's do this though, because that is annoying. And we're gonna dodge it. Try to go rook d1, rook d8. So bishop e7 should oblige. Rook d1, queen f5. Maybe this wasn't the best square, because queen f5 kind of gets me to trade, doesn't it? That's kind of annoying. Alright. Definitely had better. B4 there was... I was going to say B4 was good because it would have forced this, maybe? Or D1 I should have played there. F6 is good. Oh, that was the dumbest thing I ever did. My knight is hit. Okay. That was forgettable. That was misplayed badly. Let's try a Walrus Gambit in the titled arena. Yes, let's go. Don't mess with the Walrus. So they played d4. So the thing about the Walrus is... Let's try to play... Is your position's such a blank slate. And theirs is too. And so you just kind of want to go after them however you can. So like if it was e4, I would have switched to like Bush Gas and Safford stuff, but it was d4 and Fianchetto. So I switched out to a Fianchetto attack kind of stuff. I have knight e4 here. I guess they want it back and play f3. Bishop h3 also possible. I don't know, let's castle, why not, and attack us? I mean, it does walk me into a pin, so knight e4 is kind of off the table. They took me. I think they want h4 without dealing with g5. We just gotta take whatever the defense has given us. That's kind of the Walrus way. It's the Walrus way. So c5, is that something the defense is giving us? Bishop h3, they don't... If they castle, then h5, h4 would be awesome. But they don't have to. Let's go with c5. Continue to poke around. We'll poke around and we'll see what's there. Without the dark square bishop, we should be able to make some hits here. Should be pretty annoying. Queen b3. Like that. Because take... Pawn takes... I've even like bishop b1 to give that check. So that there's no block. But, you know, worse things have happened to them. You could take, and then c5. That's not ridiculous. Queen b5 is another idea. Queen b5 is an interesting one. I like it. Bishop h3. Yeah, I expect them to like take it, knight d2, and then just run that way. So let's try to make this as difficult as possible on them. So we actually cut castling in this direction for the moment as I b2. Queen e2 is not really doable. Queen d2. has a very sneaky problem, which is take... Okay, I was going to say if pawn takes, I was going to eat that, and then bishop b4, so there's no knight c3. But queen b3, I was thinking I was just going in here. I forgot that b7 was a problem. I kind of totally forgot about b7. So, that's alright. Let's dodge the queen trade. I mean, you can have it. Dodge the queen trade, hold b7. Still no castles. Not obvious what you're doing there. Let's say knight d2. What are we doing from there? I mean, you're not castling long so easily either. Right? Because, like, a2 is hanging. But they're doing a good job holding this pretty solid. They could. Alright, let's just slide out the way. I kind of want this. Check. So now they do go that way with their king. That makes sense. I did just block h5 with my bishop here. So they've been doing a good job playing quite solidly. Queen d6 blocks d6. Without it, they shouldn't have a ton. Alright, we gotta come up with something. And they're playing h4, of course. No. Alright. But they're doing a good job trading off pawns, which is annoying, as we've talked about. Okay, the bishop could coordinate here, but they don't have that square at present. Try and trade off the light square bishops, and then we can open this and get them. Queen e4. Nice. So now they want the queens off still, and I still don't. Yes. Yes. This is a breakthrough. That is a major breakthrough. Queen f2. No, wait. Oh, they didn't have to do that. They could have traded queens and then taken the bishop. Oh, it's check, it's check, it's check. Oh, it's check. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wait, this is gonna work too. Oh my god, how'd I get away with that? Wait. Oh, I was a genius this whole time. This is still working. Oh my goodness. Wait. I was even more of a genius than I thought. I thought I was really stupid. And I was really stupid because I got lucky. But, oh, it is working. Okay, so they take the bishop. Takes, I thought this was just like a really simple tactic, that they would just take my rook and I would just go like mate. But this is check. Did not see that with a few seconds on the clock. So king over, but this is still working. It's still working. So we sacrifice the bishop, we sacrifice the rook. I have queen h2 as a threat. If you go bishop g2 to stop that, then I go check. And I eat whatever's in the way here. Boom, boom, boom. And so how else do you guard h2? Well, it's only rook d2 or queen d2. And so they go queen d2, but now I go check, which is awesome. Because if you go king up, then I go promote. And even though both queens can be taken, this is mate, because it's double check. That's sick. So in the game, they take it. But then my other rook that I didn't sacrifice goes check, here, mate. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. It worked even though it was check. It worked even though it was check. That's crazy. That's crazy, actually. Arena's been up and down indeed. Where am I? Here. We have won 6 of 11 games. We've won 6 of 11 games. That was a wild one, guys. That was a wild one. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Check. The bishop is hanging. Oh, they knew. Takes knight g5, check. If that bishop is not defended by someone, then queen takes g4, and I get my piece back. I get it back. Right now they're threatening to take it and eat my bishop, so let's skedaddle. Check. It's a nice one. Takes. We had that little trickery there. So an interesting point here is that I'm playing d3 because if I castled, so right now knight d4. Oh yeah, I can take it. I got him again with another trick on their king. Because takes, I go check, and now I'm forking here, and I think I'm going to be up a piece at the end of that. That's why I didn't castle last turn. That's why I played d3, because if I castled, then my king would be here. They would have bishop takes d4 check on my king, and then they would eat my queen. But instead, that's why I played d3, because it's not check, and right now all I need to do is take here. And that seemed like that worked out pretty well for me, because my queen gets to hang out right on e6. That feels like a cool spot for Mrs. Queen. However, I do have to deal with this pawn on c3. Okay, but as soon as they guard this. So, I mean, probably b3, I guess? It's kind of lame. Let's just play b3 or b4. b3 feels like I was going to run myself out of squares. e5 is also actually probably a better move, because it was, like, kind of directly useful. See, for example, like now. e5 or f5. Let's go e5. Because they were threatening... No, they weren't even threatening queen d7 at all. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just need to smash this f-file open onto their king. And, yeah. It's kind of going to be all she wrote. I don't even know... Like, if I just castled, I don't even know what to recommend for black. They're totally stuck guarding mate. Queen can't move. And the way through is just going to be forcing this pawn trade. Forcing that pawn trade. So e5, making that move. Like a b4 coming in handy here. Knight c5 otherwise would be annoying, driving my queen out of her dominant post. So they do this, which is a good idea. But this is just so strong. Even though you can take my bishop, I come in time here and kill you. Like so. So you have to play g5 just so this doesn't open up. But I still have resources galore. First of all, I can just go bishop b3, but this is just really strong, right? Yeah, this is actually just going to be mating. Because rook takes f6, we force that file open, takes queen takes f6, check, with the bishop still useful there. So knight takes c4 is forced? No, because this just ends in mate. This just ends in mate. This was brutal. This was brutal. I think we really unleashed a lot of really nasty tactics against a titled player. And now they resign here in view of takes, queen takes, check with the bishop still on the board, not having yet been captured. Queen to f7, only legal move, and checkmate coming. So they resign there on move 17. This was filthy. This was actually a really, really nice game. So we did just like our Grand Prix setup here, f4, knight f3, bishop c4, looking at ideas of trying to play f5, queen e1 to h4, looking at attacking against this fianchetto, and on the king side here. My opponent goes bishop g4 really quick, trying to make that trade and bring that knight into d4, which would be very strongly placed, hitting c2, hitting my queen, covering against f5 and such. But you can't go bishop g4 this early. I can take f7 right now. Really nice little trick there and grabbing more than a pawn's worth of an advantage. So my opponent plays king f8. I jump out of the way. Okay, ancient slightly preferred bishop b3. Doesn't really matter so much. So now they play knight c6 and d3. This was a really important subtlety rather than just castling right away, because I played d3 and now it takes away their knight d4 resource. So they play knight d4, which looks really good, right? It looks like, okay, that making really nice use of the pin. Gonna at minimum force pawn takes f3. If you can follow pawn takes f3 with queen h4 check, then I'm in serious trouble. There's no g3 to cover that. But the reason I played d3 and not castles was so bishop takes d4 wouldn't be check in this exact position. It was so that it would not be check and my queen would be hanging in that position. So now the point is I just take the knight, and if you take my queen, I go check, and king over, I take your queen, and at this exact moment, you'll note I'm up a piece, and either they save my bishop and I save my knight, or we trade them off and I remain up a piece in either case. So I'm all good there. So the only way to not just lose a whole piece is take here, take, and now take c3. But this ends really, really not pleasant for them, because they just got traded off for their two best pieces, really their only two good pieces, and both those guys were covering the weak e6 square ever since I got rid of f7, and I take full advantage of just, like, right in their face, queen on e6, totally dominating their position, just b4, so there's no trickery down here, and now none of their pieces can be good at all, and their poor king down a pawn and down any king safety, so this is kind of inevitable what's going to happen here. Knight f6, I play e5, knight d7 castles, so really looking forward to just any way to open that file at all. Knight b6, which makes sense, trying to trade off for that bishop, and then maybe queen f7 and try to free yourself a little bit, but just f5 totally running them over with the rook opening up here. g5, only chance to not open that up, but just f6, forcing that through. Nothing to do here. Takes, I was just going to eat everything here, or that's actually literally checkmate. This is checkmate. So in the game takes, and a nice little tactic to finish them off. Nice one there. I think the move I'm most proud of was d3, foreseeing their knight d4 idea. Not castles here, after which this would have been annoying because of this being check. But knight takes d4 in that next turn. Subscribe. Matt Bader, I was actually a genius this whole time, Loki. My favorite feeling in chess. Yeah, when things just work out, it is nice. It is nice. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you so much, sir. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I've been away. What's up, Resting Forest? Liquid. Mr. Mike Bauer playing an IM. What is that flag? Albania. That's right. I did know that. It's a pretty unique flag. Bushgas Gambit. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We got an acceptance. Gambit glasses on. Take my pawn, please. Alright, so they don't want to give us that Stafford capture, as I call it, opening the bishop and the queen. So they go knight f3 back. Looks like they're preparing d4, but we strike quickly in the middle. Covering d4 a few times, and still d4 is stopped, because I have knight takes d4 and trading queens and getting my pawn back. So here we play bishop to g4, breaking their pressure here. Knight to e4. This looked like it was planned the whole time. Let's go with castles. So with knight to e4, I guess they're trying to take my bishop, or play knight g3. So they go for the bishop. This is a really advanced way of playing. If you're white, because you got rid of my dark square bishop and now you castled. So I have to give them props, because now it's hard for me to make a threat. So let's just play rook e8, bring pieces into the game. e3. Do I have anything with take and 84? I suppose they would have to play queen to e1. Not a lot there. So let's go to my backup option, which is like queen to h5. And I'm looking at maybe like knight e5, because takes, bishop takes e2. Also knight d5. If you play h3, I'm not sure I can take it without the dark square bishop. Okay, but I was going to say, I don't think you can take it. I don't think you can take it either. So I kind of wanted to play like rook d5 to set this up. Is that crazy? You can trade though. Trading in bishop f4 is my #1 concern. Yeah, I really just need there to not be... I'm gonna play g5. I think I've used a resource like this before, if I'm not mistaken. This is really interesting. Bishop takes... Right, okay, well I would just E. So it takes... Okay, so they go for this. I just want none of bishop f4. That is interesting. Okay, f5 needs to be played here. There's an interesting move. Because this is check, also. So they want to bring it back to g3. Oh, I didn't see that. Shoot. Yeah, we can take it. Hit my queen, and I don't get the square. Yeah, they played really well. They played really, really well. Rook h1 here. They're good. They are good. Okay. Damn, did I miss something here? I think this was really excellent defense. So they go for it, and they find the move. Knight to h4, it's the move. Really, really nice defensive resource here, because the reason I need g5 is because, like, against anything here, there is bishop f4. Without bishop f4, there wouldn't be any problem, really, and I could focus on, like, getting rid of this knight. But bishop f4 is a very difficult piece to get rid of, and they should be able to cover h2 for a long time. Like, I could play knight d4 and get rid of that knight, but I can't get rid of the bishop covering here without my own dark square bishop that they did a good job getting rid of. So g5, trying to make g4 happen, as I've talked about a few times on stream. Take, knight h4, just a really, really nice move. Because if they don't go knight h4, right, imagine, okay, something like queen d2, yeah, I just work on getting rid of this knight. I work on getting rid of that knight, and queen h2 can come. You also can't take this because knight d4, and yeah, I get rid of that knight, either here or here. g3, I don't think this is helpful. f5 is a nice move, queen h3, just making sure there's no king g2 or h1, which is the other sensible resource, but I get rid of that knight, and I slip in here. Unless they find this nice move, knight h4. What a move. So knight needs to... It's the only spot the knight can move, or else I mate you. But this trade is obviously very preferable for white, and here they're really just up a piece. So I play f5. I have to go for this. Some sharp line here, but it works out okay for white here. They're just up the pawn that they were up. So... Or... yeah, I mean, they should just come out up a pawn. So f5, take. They did everything right here. And knight g7, another good find. Yeah, wow, really flawless defense by my IM opponent here. They did not make one error other than d3 here, which was an error. Engine wanted maybe to try to go for c3 and d4. Knight b4, interesting idea, going after c2. If c3 then take, and with the pressure here, forces pawn takes f3. So... that was the resource here, but I just went for centralizing the pieces and trying to take advantage. My opponent dared me, called my bluff, and they played an excellent hand. New Gambit glasses? These are the other ones. These are the other ones. Alright, we're playing a WIM Ephraim move. Oh, that sounds kind of familiar. 1-0 against this person. Goring Gambit. Goring Gambit declined. We cannot put these glasses on just yet. Bishop c5. Gonna try to go after that bishop. Yeah, as soon as that got kind of shut down there, let's go b4. And let's bring you out. Knight d2, knight c4. it's very tempting to just kind of go for a g4. Alright, let's do this nice little idea of where I can force c takes b6. Unless they throw this in. No, they can't. I would take an a5. So yeah, they have to do that to not get the bishop trapped, and this is an idea that I like a lot. Forcing that problem for them. Let's come just back bishop e2 to break this. Bishop f4. They do have d5. Alright, let's go bishop e3. I think this is also kind of annoying. B3, covering some guys over here. How to defend this. Oh, so obvious how it's defended. Just come back, knight d2. Knight c4 could be interesting at some moment. Some targets there, maybe also on this pawn. f4 would be nice as long as there's no f5, right, with that pin, and that is exactly what my opponent was looking at. Trying to get out of the way. f5, I mean, the thing they have to consider is it does free my knight, if I don't have to hang on to that pawn. But it does provide them a decent amount of play. Let's play knight c4, I think this is spicy. f4, not trapped. So before I'm giving them knight takes f5 and other resources here, we're just attacking these pawns at an opportune time. Might induce a bishop f7 kind of situation. And against that move, I probably go queen b1. That seems like a blunder. Feels like a blunder. They were so worried about, I guess, a knight hitting there, but I had too many resources. I think you need a bishop f7. As annoying as that is for whatever your main idea was. Alright, I can continue to leave that to kind of torture them. Alright, now let's grab that rook. And now let's go to work here. Say rook e1. Do I literally just have to go back rook f1? I think, actually, you know what? I'm going to give you this. It might be totally insane, but I think rook f1... I don't know, I just psychologically didn't want to undo my move. But rook f1 here seems annoying. You got to run away. Or I'll take this or something. Should be a pretty good exchange, although don't love my queen position relative to theirs. This would be why. Threatening rook e7 and rook d8, but I need to not get mated first. g4 is also a resource if need be. Say h6. Get you into the game somehow, some way. Where are you gonna go? Is there some square of use? That one? That one? Check. We're up, but
Prix.
oh my god, I just got mated. Oh my god. How did that happen? How did the king come all the way at me? Oh my goodness, I just got mated. Are my serious OTB games exciting too? Yes. They are. It is a similar brand of chess. You know, adjusted for 5-hour games against titled players, but yeah. Cecilio GF, thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome. Really? An exchange French, bro? Okay. They hit me with the exchange French. I'll try to, like, put my bishop here and play c6. Oh, but they're gonna put the bishop on f4. I mean, presumably what's gonna happen is actually they might be trying to castle long. Yeah. So I'm not going to play h6, because I think that's what they want. I talked about this on streams. h6 with a long castle presents a hook, until you see where they're committing their king. So what I'm going to do here is probably play with b5. And we're going to go queen a5 and knight b6, and try to attack over here, without h6. So they wanted me to play h6, but I did not. So do I want knight b6, queen f5? Knight's coming to f5. So with the knight coming to f5... Alright, let's start out with this. Knight h5, I'll go here, and I guess we'll trade a couple things. But I just wanted to open up this light square bishop. Yeah, they don't have a lot without my pawn here. They don't have the sacrifice ideas, they don't have g5. Now, it's true they didn't do anything either, in terms of file opening potential. So knight h5, I think they want like rook takes e7 at some moment in that line. Before... Alright, let's go here though. Yeah, so pawn takes c4 is what I want. Good. The knight hit there, was too bothersome. And now with that file open, I was hoping to generate something here. As long as you don't kill me first. So, did you want rook takes e7? Maybe. Maybe it's good, actually. Maybe I underestimated it. Well, yeah, I mean, the problem is, actually, it's just concrete. Take, take, take queen h6, and I can't keep you at a g7 in that line. So that's actually a large problem. However, takes, takes, and bishop f4... No, you have rook e3. Oh... Almost changed everything. So we're just gonna need to strike fast. Oh, that was the dumbest thing I could have done. Queen h6 works for sure now if you don't have to sacrifice the rook. Whoops. That was the dumbest thing I could have done. Yeah, I really underestimated their attack and played this wrong. I really played this wrong. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna get mated on the other side of the board. They're just gonna go here and here. Yep. No, they got me. They got me. This was wrong. What should I have done here? Yeah, knight c4 was a really disaster of a choice because it allowed knight h5. Apparently the way to go is b4 and now knight c4, which puts, I guess, c3 on the table. Because here I can win this race, attacking-wise. Wow, some sharp lines here. So that's what I should have done. b4 and a4, because I know this is like a nice little attacking pattern like this. And they're both ideas from here, but the way I did it was, yeah, pretty ugly. And then I got hit this. I thought I had bishop e7 here, but this is a really nice sacrifice that they have available to them. They have that. Alright. I got out attacked. Hello, hello, Fritz, Marjan, Wicked Pupil, Tushar. Game name? What do you mean? I would call that a delayed exchange French. Alright, let's get a Von Popil against the Scandi, though. Ooh. Okay, so I could play e5 with, like, a weird sort of French transposition, or takes into a Scandi transposition, but it's going to be a Von Popil Gambit. Leaving that pawn on e4. Okay, they went for the knight takes e4 line, which is rare. It is rare in the Von Popil. Typically, you'll get pawn takes, but it's important to know how to do this, because especially if you are a d4 player, is what they do. Okay, so we don't want to just go f3 immediately, because they should be okay in this with the bishop on the other side of the e6 pawn. So what we like doing is just g4, and trying to go after this bishop a little bit. Knight f4, h4, h5. Use these ideas in a few lines on my channel, but the knight takes e4 line is very playable for black, for sure. So, should I play with knight f4 or with the immediate h4 here? Let's go just like queen d2, as we see where they're putting the bishop. So I'm castling long for sure. What I want is knight f4 hitting the bishop, and then h4. So forcing h6 there, or else I trap the bishop. And then as soon as you play h6, I'm going to take it, try to force f takes. That's kind of my goal here. So let's go long castle. That's where my king was going no matter what. Bishop b4 is a little strange, because c3 seems fine, but I don't want... So they provoke c3. I don't want a knight coming in there, but I should be able to keep it out of that spot largely. So knight f4, I guess you would take it. h4, h6. Alright, you can take it. Because if you don't take it, I do want h4, and I want to trap this bishop. Try and get knight takes g6. I think what they did was generally smart, because this bishop needs to be here and not, say, on e7, or else f takes g6 could be forced. Also with knight f4, I open up a lot of possibilities for my light square bishop, as they still figure out what to do with their king. Could try to go that way away from the pawn storm, so they do take that knight, as I was planning h4, h5, and queen d5, potentially looking at e3. So I think that means I should play c4, because, yeah, so c4 for sure, because I don't want to step in the way of that. e3, cd5, ed2. It's actually a pretty interesting line, although they might have gotten their queen trapped in there, right? So queen a5, they're trying to trade the queens, also hitting a2. And I'm kind of obligated to accept, but they do hang c7, at minimum. In addition, I think maybe even better takes in d5. I mean, I think that's good, and the pawn is going. But d5 right now is really compelling to me. It's really calling my name. I think this is really interesting, because b4 is threatening now to trap the knight outright without c6 square. So I think you need to do something like creating knight b7. And after that, I think that's a nice inclusion, because taking c7 and d5 is what I wanted to do anyway. If I were black, I would not make that capture. I think it's important that they don't, or else the bishop comes out to b5 really nicely. And it's too much for them to handle. Okay, c5. Somehow I missed this move. Okay, let's play 3. Let's still try trap. Oh no! Now there's a new route. Not smart. Not smart. I just gave knight b3. Yeah, not smart at all. I totally missed the knight b3 resource. No, it was dumb. I should have taken this. Alright, I gotta block this. They could go e5 now, after which, yeah, their extra pawn is pretty solid. We can keep working on on. Trying to get it back. But not nearly as good as it could have been. Let's get out the way here. B4 is still an idea, for sure. Let's try to make something happen over there, actually. Alright, we're getting this pawn. This is literally my only way to stop it. Go king c2, and I go check. No, they saw it. We're good. We're so good.
5, 4,
Yes.
3.
Oh. Nice. Okay. I think it was a winning position by this point anyway, but a wild up and down game. A wild up and down game. Game name. Yeah, the game is chess. Good point. Alright, well, GG's. GG's. What an arena. Nice we ended on a win. So our win rate was exactly 50% through 16 games. We finished 176 out of 386 titled players. Congratulations to Donut42 for winning the arena. I don't really know who that is. But congrats to them. We got any other fun arenas coming up? We have a classical arena. That's actually pretty interesting. 45 successful seasons. We'll play some long chess here. Alright, well thank you for joining for that. Let's join this arena. We'll keep it chill. We'll keep it chill. Can I get a game? I'm like the... yeah, I was gonna say, there's 1999 players in this arena. Now there's 2,000. I think today, by the way, is... oh, this is my first ever classical game. I'm 1500 question mark. Reezy Zarapush, thanks for the sub. Play a Goring Gambit. Classical chess. Sudden vibe shift. My opponent's already thinking here. As far as I understand, yeah, it is National Chess Day. International Chess Day. I don't really know why. No, that's wrong. I thought I saw something on the internet. Is there a meaning of it? The June 20th, 6/20. No. Today, 10/11. There's nothing in chess that implies that. Alright, Goring Gambit against Uras Farouk. Lovely content, keep it up. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're trying to post more short form content too on Instagram and TikTok and such. Gotta get out the way here. but certainly not at the expense of what we do here. Long quality Gambit videos. Knight f6, so we don't want to allow that to just happen. So let's strike before they can run away. This seems like a problem. Your knight and your f7 pawn are under attack. What's up, Ryan Master? How are you? Welcome in. Yeah, big problem for black here. As we struck quick out of the Goring, Danishized this line. And with castle one move too slow, f7 is under attack, no rook to defend it, and as is your knight. Doing good, doing good. Got back from a few weeks away. It's my first stream in a minute. Just got back to fabulous New York City. Oops. This is the issue with classical. My opponent can spend a lot of time, but they are completely lost. I mean, the problem is if you play d6 to try to stop e5 to set that up, then I go like queen b3, and with f7 attacked like so, you gotta use your queen to defend it too. So this is kind of, they just don't really have enough moves. Knight e7, then knight g5, and castle's queen h5, like a Stafford-esque idea. Without the knight on f6, then there's too many problems on f7 and h7. Oh, it is my move. So they castle, had to defend mate over their knight. But it's not even the end of their problems. Knight g5 hitting h7. And after g6, queen h4. So target this bishop here. I mean, that isn't pleasant. That isn't pleasant. Well, just bishop d3 also just wins this bishop, among other things. I think we'll do that. I mean, it's hard to fault them, though. Let's say d6, knight g5. So g6 and queen h4. Seems like the start of a few good ideas. So this is hanging, but I think en passant is worse, because it makes that hang too, again. I mean, I think this is even filthier than just taking it, because f7 check is being threatened. Winning the queen. So they need to stop that. Yum. I mean, this is also very strong. Say queen h4. Well, I mean, in that case, I would probably just take their bishop finally. But yeah, let's try to get rid of that rook to get an f7, or sacrifice here to get their king. Not that there was anything wrong with this. b2 has been hanging. Might have been a little overlooked on my part. Can we get a little creative? Takes, make a queen. Let's say check. No, I should probably take that queen. And then try to go queen e8. Yeah, I mean, bishop g5 was very testy as soon as I did it. Yeah, probably should have really just taken on b4. Even here. I mean, that's it. Taking a rook and a queen. But they don't do it. Oh, and now they just resign. Okay, knight takes g6. Takes... I was going to go for this. And then try to come queen h7. Alright. Alright, well, our first classical rating is 1761. I don't understand with 2,000 people in this arena why they can't give me a game real quick. Yeah, after bishop g5, cb2, f7. Takes bishop d8. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think queen e8 was so effective there. So yeah, it could have been a problem. Could have been a problem. Alright, let's play another Goring. Another Goring Gambit. It's kind of a shame when they play d3. They have 6, there's e5, so yeah, you do need that first. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're fine here. I'll play h3 to keep the bishop out. Trying to do like that, put something here. Okay. Could take either way. If knight takes, yeah, I was just gonna come back here, or maybe even c2. It's kind of interesting, and just try to play f4. If I can play f4, then we can get a lot of space going in this direction. Pieces well placed, and maybe an e5 at some moment with the bishop pointed there. And we really make use of this h3 move, keeping everybody out. So I didn't need my bishop on e2. Knight keeps them out of this spot. And we should just play f4 with a really nice position, just really pretty pieces. And from there we can see how we're going to proceed. So f5 my opponent plays, not allowing me to get into a nice little setup, striking right away. So let's see, if we trade everything there and go check and take, that is an option. I think with f4 it looks kind of dumb if you end up just trading this. It's just kind of out there a little bit on its own. So I think, yeah, can we try to grab this? It's really greedy, but I think sensible. Because if rook b8 at the end, I have queen e4 targeting that rook, so not losing the b2 pawn. think this is kind of the whole of f5, is that now their light squares are kind of lacking a little bit with dark, dark, dark. And I'm just going to try to grab what I can get, keep everything solid. I do like what they did, though, because it challenges me. But yeah, rook b8. Yeah, I was going to go queen e4, attacking here, and then we just hold b2, keeping things solid. Oh, take care, I master. What's up, Anton? Matija. How's everyone doing? Yeah, because if they didn't play f5, what would you do? Just like bishop out, right? Then I play f4, drives his back, queen f3, e1. Some moment I play e5, you know, with where my pieces are really nice. No problems behind my cute little setup. Bishop g5 might have just hung f4, though it's not obvious, because bishop h6, there's a pin. And so they're probably fine. But if I take first... Alright, so no queen takes because that's hanging. Rook b8. No, I'm just up a piece as we trade. So rook takes then, but then f4, right? If rook b8, I just slide somewhere. And the fork should hold. I understand bishop g5 because my bishop was very solid and seemed like, oh, okay, with takes you could get something generally towards my king, but it just wasn't working. I think with takes b7 it was actually a really clean pawn. I think I would have just gone rook b8. Just, I mean, like, okay, we could have made that trade, but I probably would have just gone queen e4. I think you just had to just be down a pawn here. Bishop g5 was trying to force it, and fortunately for them, it runs into a fork. I think this makes the most sense because I want to guard that knight. There's nothing really fancy they could do with this knight, even though they've got something there. The rook is under attack. Just kind of delaying the inevitable here. C5, I'll go back. What's up, Camilla? Thank you for the follow. I guess this is the thing about classical. It can just kind of take a while. Huh.
Sometimes I wish, like, that there was a ton of time on the clock, you know, when I'm blitzing it out. But this is a lot of time to just get that pawn to c5. Okay, now finally for realsies, we've got to confront this. I just wanted my queen to stay on my knight, you know, in case takes b2 happened. Gotta be careful to go, like, not to, like, say f2, where, like, rook f5 could have brought them out of the woods there, pinning the pawn. But yeah, I'm even able to step into this. Knight 3 check, I take it. So we're all good. A knight 3 check, yeah, was not to be. Instead, they are just forked. Oh. October baseball has been a treat. I was up late last night watching the Tigers-Mariners game, which was like 15, 16 innings. I don't even remember. But that was incredible and an epic, really well played slugfest of a winner-take-all game. And tonight we've got Cubs Brewers. Alright, my guy should move. I'm thinking of ideas for my next videos. There's other gambits I want to cover. Particularly ones by my viewers. What's up, Mirko? There's a lot of other gambits worth covering. Alright, gotta be a little careful here. Don't want to block my defensive G2. Just kind of the first instinct. The other instinct is to blunder the queen. Don't blunder the queen or the king, William. Nothing wrong with literally just b3. Just given the situation. Or rook f2, I think is probably the most sensible move. Because you can't take it anyway. So rook f2 just covers everybody. And probably sets up logical moves like rook f1 for this. I mean, queen b7 was also like a fun move to play. Just because you can. But, like, a little tenuous. This makes the most sense setting up rook f8, and even if h6, queen g8 to follow that. How about more Gambits as black versus the main moves? Yeah. After this game, I'm actually going to look through... Okay, because we've got a mate coming up here, so we can sneak through the back, right? All without getting checkmated on g2. King's going to be on h6, but out of squares. Did I like Loznica? Yeah, I had a great experience at the World Chess Boxing Championships, actually, in Loznica, Serbia. I won my first round versus a French guy who was a decent chess player, but a way better boxer. We survived. Checkmated him in the second chess round. And I'm going to make full breakdowns of this, of course. But, yeah, my second opponent was the defending gold medalist, Fabian Ulcer from Germany. And we drew in the chess, and I lost by decision in the ring. You know, like decision in combat sports, if there's no knockout, it's just like, according to the judges, who won the rounds. And so that's an interesting mechanism in chess boxing. You say until checkmate or knockout, but what if there's neither? If it's a draw and no knockouts after the boxing rounds. So it came down to that. So it was a great fight. It was really cool. I'm gonna make full breakdowns of it. It won Fight of the Year, which was like really quite the honor. That I got to take home boxing gloves and it was like a certificate for that. I lost the Fight of the Year, but I won Fight of the Year. So, but anyway, it was really cool and a really awesome experience. Okay, something I want to do now is check out what my viewers have made. So let's go to the Gambit Chad's Discord server. And we're just going to check out some really cool Gambits here. Something I want to check out that I know has been asked about was the Knock Knock Gambit. I know keeps... Okay, this has gotten a lot of attention in the server. E4. How does this work? Well, this is very interesting. It's a Botanic. The idea here by Bunny from the Discord server is just to play against the Owen's defense. Just play h4 and h5. And what I guess that does is really sets up queen g4 and a lot of pressure on g7. Which makes sense if the bishop's going this way and not there. So we're immediately looking in this direction. So we can just follow kind of the main line here. So they do all these moves attacking e4. But the problem for them becomes, yeah, the queen jumps into g4. I mean, that's what they like to do after bishop e7, right? Here and here and here, everything to attack this. But when the bishop comes to b4, this becomes a big problem. So this is kind of a fun line to do. h4, just defend it, play for h5. And then otherwise, yeah, you can run that bishop over. This is an interesting one. I like this. What have we here? Knight f3. C5 a3. Well, this is a fun one. Okay, the idea being that we play knight f3, and if they play c5, then we play with a3 and b4, at least in kind of a delayed way, you know, so similar to what we do here in like the Great Mako, trying to give these pawns, like the A and the B pawns, for the C, it's just starting out with knight f3. So against c5, which I guess a lot of Sicilian players play c5, you play a3, we're delaying it one move, and we get from this position playing b4. This is a fun one. So yeah, it's delaying it with knight c3 here. Only when they play d5, now you get to play b4, give this pawn. And it's hard for black to maybe not take that pawn because we're trying to play b5. Give that pawn an e4. I like that. The nasal mouse. Oh, that's good. Taking d5. I have seen this in some way, shape, or form. So this is also against the Owens defense, which is kind of funny, but we play bishop g5. So then they take it, and then we play d5, kind of jamming their bishop in there. And on f6, we attack it, they retreat. I think from this point, we probably play h4, yeah. Here. There's knight f3. And e5. I like this idea. Just knight f3, knight e5. Trying to play h4, h5. d6 is not possible. This is a good one. Alright, I'll have to go through all of these and make some new videos about what we're gonna do. Jonathan Strawn's cover the nasal mouse. Alright, well, I'll go through these, and yeah, we'll make some more Gambit videos. But alright, you guys.